Veronica and I'm presenting on cryptococcus, which is the disease caused by Cryptococcus fungus. And I'm focusing on two species, Cryptococcus neoformans and Cryptococcus gattii. There are many other species. These are the two I looked at, and specifically and especially Cryptococcus neoformans. Cryptococcosis is a respiratory disease that's transmitted by inhaling airborne fungi. They're transmitted through spores in the air. They're encapsulated yeast-like fungus that are found in the reservoirs of soil, bird droppings, decaying wood, and tree hollows. Cryptococcosis largely affects the lungs and the central nervous system and can lead to brain damage if the disease is left untreated and develops to cryptococcal meningitis. It's interesting that cryptococcosis is a disease caused by fungus spores because most fungi are not pathogenic and therefore cannot harm humans, but cryptococcosis is a pathogenic fungus. So cryptococcosis largely affects immunocompromised individuals and especially those who have AIDS. It can also affect people who've had organ transplants or who take medications that largely weaken the immune system. People who are healthy and have normal immune systems do not get infected generally by Cryptococcus neoformans because their immune systems are able to take care of the disease and get rid of it, just like any other basic illness. Cryptococcus neoformans is transmitted through the spores from the soil of the bird dropping reservoirs, while Cryptococcus gattii is isolated in eucalyptus trees in tropical and subtropical regions, including the Pacific Northwest more recently. It's spread only through inhalation of the spores in the air and therefore cannot be transferred from one human to another. It can be given to, or not given, but plants and animals can also contract the disease, but they cannot give the disease to humans either. It's only through inhalation of the air. So symptoms of cryptococcosis are very similar to other lung illnesses, particularly pneumonia, because it affects the lungs primarily. These symptoms include cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, and fever. It can be diagnosed through various ways, but initially when you go into the doctor's office, they'll probably give you a prescription for something like pneumonia or something that affects the lungs based off of your physical examination. But once these antibiotics because they won't help you if you have cryptococcosis, you'll go back and they will run tests using a tissue sample or body fluid to see whether or not you have Cryptococcus neoformans. The body fluids can be blood, sputum, or cerebral spinal fluid. In the lab, with your body fluid samples, they can run a couple of different tests. One which is the India ink test, which is used on cerebral spinal fluid to identify whether or not the cells have cryptococcosis or not. Or they can use a histopathologistic test, which focuses on the budding of the yeast cells, which is particular to Cryptococcus neoformans. For patients who have AIDS, they can use antigen detection test, which identifies asymptomatic cryptococcal infections more easily than the microscopic and cultural tests of patients who do not already have AIDS. This picture on the right is a strain of cryptococcosis in the lungs. So once an individual is diagnosed with Cryptococcus neoformans, they will be prescribed with different antibiotics based on how far along they are with the disease. If it's early on and they catch it early on, they can give you fluconazole, which for mild or moderate infections. But if it's a more severe infection or it has already affected the central nervous system, they'll prescribe amphotericin B with fluticasone. Once they've given you these two antibiotics, they'll later give you fluconazole to take for about a 6 month period to completely rid yourself of the disease. The problem with amphotericin B, however, is that it is generally more expensive and therefore more difficult to give to individuals in underdeveloped countries. It can also have side effects such as intracranial pressure, and it can be difficult to manage its treatment-limiting toxicities. So cryptococcal meningitis is when the disease has spread to the brain, and this is what can cause a lot of the deaths. It's a type of meningitis, and additional symptoms include headaches, neck pain, vomiting, sensitivity to light, and altered mental status. It's a large concern worldwide because there's about 1 million new cases a year and about 625,000 deaths a year from the disease, or from cryptococcal meningitis. It's most problematic in developing countries where the resources to healthcare and to medications is very limited, and it's one of the leading causes of death in HIV/AIDS patients in Africa. Antiretroviral therapy, however, has helped decrease the number of infected individuals worldwide. One proof of this is in the 1990s when antiretroviral therapy started to be used in the US. About 90% of the number of individuals that were infected went down. So the number of individuals in developed countries are largely not affected because of the antiretroviral therapy. This is a graph that shows the number of cases there are a year. That's based off of the location in the world. And as you can see, Sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia are the top two locations, which are also where many are very impoverished areas. CDC and other organizations are working to provide the resources and medications necessary to limit the number of fatalities and cases of cryptococcosis in these four areas. It's one of the leading causes of death in Sub-Saharan Africa, as you can see in this chart. This chart doesn't include AIDS, and that would be the first and number one cause of death in Sub-Saharan Africa. And while cryptococcosis is not the number one or number two leading cause of death, it's still relatively high with 104,000 deaths a year. Prevention. So because it's transmitted through the air and found in many reservoirs throughout the world, including soil, it's difficult to avoid breathing in Cryptococcus neoformans. Like I said, healthy individuals with strong immune systems will not contract the disease even if they breathe in these spores through the air. In immunocompromised individuals, however, Cryptococcus neoformans lays dormant and will later cause infection when their immune system is not working very well. To prevent this from happening, they've come up with a method of using targeted screening, which targets individuals who are immunocompromised, and especially those who have AIDS, to see if they have contracted Cryptococcus neoformans before the symptoms occur. This can happen weeks to months before symptoms are shown in the individual. One of these methods is through the dipstick test, which detects the cryptococcal antigen via a different type of body fluid. It's very effective and fast and very accurate. The major problem and the best way to prevent the individual who has contracted the disease from getting very sick is to increase access to healthcare and tests and medications in underdeveloped countries. The CDC is working to create facilities and to provide medications and tests to facilities in Sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia. They hope to save about 50 to 100,000 lives a year by doing so. And the key into really preventing individuals from getting the disease to the point of death and to decrease the mortality rate from cryptococcal meningitis is through early detection. If they're able to test these individuals early on and find the disease, they can distribute the drugs and prevent it from largely harming the individual and leading to death. Thank you.